A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. Let's dive into that. Let's dive into a bad attitude. Have you ever been told that you have a bad attitude? I know I have. It's not something unique, or at least it's not something that's like uncommon where it's like, man, it's the unicorn if you've been told you have a bad attitude. I think at some point all in our lives, we've been told we have a bad attitude. I'll never remember one of the shows we used to watch, my wife and I, is MasterChef. And there was this cook on there that had a mom who said, your attitude will determine your altitude. And I was like, ooh, that was good. And now here we have the opposite, where a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. Your attitude will determine your altitude. All of these are telling you that your mindset and your outlook, which is your attitude, if you pull back the word attitude, which is this word we assign our kids who give us tude, and it's sometimes cute, sometimes ugly, sometimes we just want to like move on. But attitude is our mindset. Attitude is our perspective. And this idea that our attitude is somehow unchangeable or unrecognizable, or other people around us just need to accept it and make room for my bad attitude. You know these people that I'm talking about, that they leave a wake that's like, get out of my way with my bad attitude. This is who I am. Just get used to it. Then you have those people who are never going to realize that it's their mindset and attitude and perspective on life that's actually probably keeping them stuck, that's keeping them stuck in that asshole mode, and they don't know how to break it. But how do you break it? It's kind of an interesting question. How do you break a bad attitude? It's one of those that sometimes you can hold on to them for days. Sometimes it can be hours. Sometimes it can be minutes. But how do you let go of a bad attitude? Now, the most basic advice that's probably repeated out there, and I feel like Tony Robbins has said this 2 million times, an attitude of gratitude is how you fix a bad attitude. That an attitude of gratitude allows you to pull back from what's wrong in your life and find what's good in your life. I'll share a quick mind trick that allows and illuminates this exercise point blank. Did you know that you can't hold space for a really joyful thought and a negative thought at the same time? That if I told you to think about purple elephants, you just thought of purple elephants. The mind is this weird thing. If I'm telling it to do something, it just does it. Did you also know that if you ask your mind a question, it will automatically answer it whether you want to or not? For example, did you graduate high school? Poof. I bet your brain just answered that. Your brain has this ability to switch and trigger based on what you trigger your thoughts are. And your thoughts determine your feelings, and your feelings are generally wired to your attitude. So if we can introduce a new thought, like a thought of gratitude, what's going well in your life? What do you have to be thankful for that others maybe don't? This idea of holding space for that, repeated over time, can strengthen the attitude of gratitude muscle and allow you to grow that, where this is your more dominant muscle versus the bad attitude muscle. Because I can also attest that just because you understand this, just because you hear this message, and just because now you know it, does not automatically make having a bad or good attitude any less or more easy. It is really a willingness to get better. It's really a willingness to change. And it is a desire to be different than the asshole that walks around with a bad attitude, that has a bad outlook on life, that is the Debbie Downer and the Eeyore, potentially, of the office. Hi, Bill. How was your weekend? Oh, man, it was just so hard at home. You know those kind of people at the water cooler that just have the sound in their voice. I call it the Eeyore mode. These are not good attitudes. These are not having an attitude of gratitude. These are not people who have a altitude set that their altitude, an altitude set where their attitude is going to increase lift. This is one where multiple times a week they're probably yelling, pull up, pull up, pull up, and trying to go forward. Realizing and unwilling to recognize that they are and have always been the biggest problem in their life. That is all I have for you today on this Friday. It is time for the weekend, and hope you have an amazing one, and I'll be back again with you guys on Monday.